not only how, but why did you start the company? What was it that really just moved you to get Frank Crum Insurance going?
It was 1980, and I was manager of Olston Temporary Services for Central Florida, which is now Adecco. We became very successful and very large, and he said, let's start a staffing business. I said, Dad, I don't want to start a staffing company. That's a lot of work and a lot of pressure on me. He said, well, then I'll start it. I said, Dad, you won't make it. You're against old timers that are seasoned, and you've never been in the staffing business. So I left my job. We started the staffing company in June of 1981, and it took off.
Well, you told me while we were over in Orlando that Kimberly Group was named after your wife.
Yes.
So, and I don't know if that was, if I wasn't supposed to share that or not, but can you tell us why or how you started Kimberly Group?
We started the company back in mid 2000s when the economy started crashing a little bit. In our staffing company, we had a lot of clients who utilized us to hire good employees. They would keep them on for 90 days. And from that point, we always talk to them about what happens after. And come to realize, talking to our clients, they use a PO or a leasing company. And in my mind, I always said, but that's what we do. We're a leasing company.
They were stealing your clients.
Right. And they kind of educated me on the PEO world.
First question I want to ask you is, how did you end up here at Modern Business Associates? What drew you in?
Well, it was 2005, and I was litigating with a great firm in Tampa, Thompson, Sizemore, and Gonzalez. See, here was the thing, is that I would find routinely, after years of doing it, that I would end up in almost the same place every time with every case, and that would be, I'd be representing great clients, great business people. But if I could tell them, hey, just take 10 minutes, let's have a conversation about whether or not you should terminate this person, or any number of employment decisions, it could have saved them a tremendous amount of money, because it may have cost them $150,000 to litigate the case just to prove that they were correct. In 2005, with strong encouragement from my wife, she decided it would be best if I looked for something in-house. And at the time, Modern Business Associates was advertising for an HR consultant. Well, we used to call it HR manager, now we call them HR consultants. But they were looking for an HR manager, and all the HR managers are labor and employment attorneys at Modern Business Associates. So I came, interviewed, fell in love with the people here, and I was able to immediately start doing a thing that I wanted to do, which was advise people real time while they were going through those issues. And see, at MBA, our clients, they call us because this is all part of the package. They're not getting billed every 6 minutes as if they called a law firm. So they're calling an HR consultant and walking through before they make those decisions.
What direction do you think the workers' comp market is headed?
I probably isn't the answer that you want to hear. I think the workers' comp market is going to continue on the way it is. It's not going to change that much or very drastically. I think the courts are always going to rule in favor of the injured worker and make sure that they're covered. And I think it's one of the most important areas that any company has is employee safety and having a good workers' comp policy.
I think workers' compensation, in the last year and now, I think the rates are going to be increasing, and they're going to increase because of some Supreme Court decisions that have really kind of removed the incentive for attorneys to settle these cases earlier. Because previously there were caps on how much an attorney could get. Now that's removed, and so that's naturally going to raise the cost for everyone.
Well, after this past year where the rates spiked dramatically, and it's been a good opportunity for the PEO world. And in recent articles I've read that there's going to be a slight decrease this year, which I think will still give the leasing world or our industry a boost. There's a lot of carriers that are, with the climate changes, they're going to be spooked. They're not going to want to come back into the market when the rates are going down.
There are close to 1,000 PEOs nationwide, and yet one bad apple spoils
Yeah.
the bunch, as they say. What would you say to those people out there that are PEO detractors, whether it's because of that or for another reason?
Well, I would say two things. First, make sure you're doing business with a PEO that's been around for a while. Make sure that they're stand up, that they're well funded. Second, the federal government has actually helped. The federal government has done something to make it easier for consumers to choose a PEO, and the IRS has created a certification process.
The biggest thing, in any industry, sports, other businesses, there's always someone that's going to give a black eye, as you call it, to an industry. Don't let one or two or a few bad apples ruin a great industry, a great opportunity for clients to get workers' comp coverage, human resource support, benefits, just a lot of different things that a PEO has to offer. Don't let those few bad eggs ruin it for everybody. It's not fair. Let me put it that way. It's just not fair.
Well, I've been around the industry over 36 years. There's been a few bad players that went out. In the early days, there was a few that actually cost some people some money, especially workers' comp carriers and group health and major medical carriers. But for the most part, from what I see, when there is a player that goes out, another PEO absorbs the clients and takes care of the clients and makes it good, and they take over the company. I think there's probably 1,000 PEOs in the United States. But what I think I would honestly tell a potential client, either go with a large stock company, a nationally owned company that's, sells stock, or go with a very seasoned and established PEO that has a great track record. And you'll probably avoid any of those concerns whatsoever.